Well, hello and good evening. Global Origin ambassadors, a big hello to you from London, United Kingdom. My name is Charles Kieran, broadcasting tonight, and I'd love to welcome everyone to our Monday night webinar. I'm trusting you've had a great weekend and you're looking forward to a wonderful week. So much is going on behind the scenes. We are working behind the scenes at such fast pace to get a few things in place before the 15th of this month. A few testing is going on. By the 15th, the corporate players, they are going to be testing the new Origin Heart website to make sure all is in order. The warehouse capacity has been expanded. Trainings are going on behind the scenes with the support team at headquarters, with the team at the warehouse in Romania, strategic meetings. The corporate team themselves are meeting regularly. The last time I called, they were like in an 8-hour meeting. Peter, Fred, Simona, everybody locked down, plotting, planning, preparing for the massive expansion of Origin Unite and Origin Hearts. Gentlemen and ladies, we are in for a treat. We are in for a treat. So much is being planned, so much is happening, and very, very soon, literally very soon, you're going to have all the announcements from corporate that we are ready to kick off this next phase of our evolution and our revolution. So what I like to do real quick, as is our usual custom, is to find out tonight that you are receiving me correctly tonight, receiving me all right. So let's just do a quick check, looking at some wonderful ambassadors. Let's just say a quick hello. Chantal, good evening.
Good evening, Charles.
I hear you loud and clear tonight.
I hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome, Chantal. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see our Lady Edith in London. Lady E, you hearing me okay, ma'am?
Good evening, sir. How are you this evening?
The same to you, my top lady. Same to you. Good to have you on the call tonight. Just checking everyone can hear. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's see. I've got here Garderus. Garderus, I'm not sure if we've spoken before. A.B. Darus. Have I got that right? Is it Jar or Garderus? Okay, I'm not sure if you've got a microphone because I can't hear you. So I'll just mute you back on again. We've got here Emmanuel Osanga. Here, make sure if Emmanuel can hear me. Emmanuel, can you hear me tonight?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Where are you? Where are you tonight? Where are you listening in from?
I've gone back to Johannesburg.
So you're in South Africa tonight. Good to have you on the call. Good to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Let's see. We got Bishop Sapon. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, sir. I can hear you. Thank you.
Loud and clear. Well done for today. We spent most part of the day together today. Good to have you on the call as well tonight.
Thank you.
Well done, sir. Pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure. Let's see. Johnny Pedersen. Johnny, are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, Johnny. How are you, buddy? Okay. Making sure all is well with your audio over there. Let's see. Marianne. See. Hey, Marianne.
Marianne, I can hear you.
I can hear you too. Welcome to the call, Marianne.
Great. Yeah, nice to be here again. Fine.
Wonderful. Let's see if Nabila has got her microphone tonight. Nabila, did you manage?
Yes, Charles, I can hear you.
Nabila, this is a miracle. You got a microphone. Wow.
I have.
Welcome to the call.
I promised I was going to get one.
And you did. Loud and clear, I can hear you.
Yes, I did.
Good lady, good lady.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
All
now
right. Thank you.
Let's get into it. We'll say hello to all the other wonderful people later. Let's get into it, into our call for tonight. You know, team, I wanted to discuss tonight a very, very important topic, which, depending on who you are, you may not see the power of this topic or the importance, but I can guarantee you this is the most critical tool you need to succeed in our business. And this is why I wanted to spend some time tonight to talk to us a little bit about this tool. Now, you can hear from my voice, I'm slightly tired, so forgive me if I don't have my usual energy, but a lot of work is going on behind the scenes. We're working flat out, but I'll do the best I can to make sure you don't have a boring conference call tonight, okay? Now, this is a massive, massive topic of emotional intelligence. We are talking here essentially how to deal with people. How to deal with people. You know, we are in a business that is driven entirely by people, which means it makes so much sense to find out how to connect with people, how to work with people, how to lead people if you're going to have any chance of succeeding in our industry at all. Now, for most people, emotional intelligence, which we also call EQ, which stands for emotional quotient, is more important than our intelligence. It has been proven several times that EQ is more powerful than IQ. I mean, I'm talking about attaining success in our lives and in our careers. As individuals, our success and the success of our careers today depend on our ability to read other people's signals and how we can react to those signals appropriately. So it makes so much sense that each one of us must develop the mature and the emotional intelligence and the skills that is required to better understand, empathize, and negotiate with other people. Particularly, as we all know now, we are talking essentially about a global economy. Otherwise, success may begin to elude each one of us in our lives and in our careers. So we need to really begin to understand this massive topic. You know, your EQ is the level of your ability to understand other people and also to understand what motivates them and how you can work cooperatively with them. Very, very important, all right? Now, there are 5 major categories of emotional intelligence and the skills and the value which we need to understand and adopt. And I'll go through that in a little while. But first, last week, for those of you who tuned in, we went through a major topic, which is that of the mindset of the inspirational leader. That was the topic we dealt with last week, Monday, where I was able to share with us how critically important for you to be an inspirational leader. You know, the heart of man has over 500% the firepower that logic has. Emotions has over 500% than logic, which means the hotbed, the seat of power is in the human emotion, not in human logic. Which means that if you're going to know how to activate a force of movement, move a large group of people in the same direction, which we also call a tribe of people, you've got to know how to become an inspirational leader. Not an authoritative leader, but an inspirational leader. So you learn how to inspire, because the human heart needs and thrives on inspiration. So we covered this topic last week and the key elements that will make you as an inspirational leader to really succeed. We covered in depth last week. All right, so but we did not finish everything. If you remember last week, I showed you this dashboard, which I call the leader's dashboard. The key characteristics that truly defines an inspirational leader. We talked about how you define your vision and the whole potency and power of vision. We define how you also activate your mission. We also discussed last week how you define your values, the guiding principles that guide you in your life. We talked about the power of cultivating the right attitude. We also talked about raising your performance as a leader. You don't only have to help your people, you need to also develop your own personal performance as a leader. Okay? So the leader requires a lot of skill because you are helping your team, but you're also required to produce yourself. All right? Then we talked about how to develop professional relationships. We looked into that last week as well. And we talked about the essence and the centrality of mastering the right communication. We dealt with all of this last week. Now, we didn't have enough time to go into the balance, which is what I want to discuss tonight. So tonight we're going to discuss how we deal with people. And we're going to look at emotional intelligence and your development continuously whilst you're striving for excellence. So let me just check right now. Give me a quick second. See, okay, we have welcomed a few more people. 10 new people have joined since we started. That's good. That's good. Right, I see Africa represented, which is very important. Very good. Okay, so I hope you understood that little preamble, that initial introduction to what it is that we're doing. So we really need to get into it now. What is EQ? What is emotional intelligence? And why are people saying emotional intelligence is more important than your IQ, than your intelligence quotient? All right? EQ or emotional intelligence was made famous. This work was made famous by Daniel Goleman, who's done a lot of work for Harvard, in his groundbreaking book called Working with Emotional Intelligence, which was published in 1998. Now it is taught in Harvard and in all the greatest institutions around the world. They have embraced emotional intelligence. Bosses, CEOs, top directors, vice presidents around the world have had to go through classes. Many of them who are not naturally gifted with EQ have had to go and understand how to use EQ, or else many of them will begin to get sued, and their companies will be sued for misconduct and mistreatment of the personnel. So that's how important emotional intelligence, or EQ, is. So what is it? It is the capacity for recognizing our own feelings first. Always the principle of first base. Recognizing our own feelings first, and then the feelings of others. Why? Because it enables us to motivate ourselves, and it enables us to manage our emotions well, and it enables us to manage relationships. If you notice what is so important here, it talks first and foremost about checking our own feelings first. You see? Know thyself. You can't expect to lead other people if you can't lead yourself. You can't expect to understand emotions in other people if yours are not in check first. So it's always a principle of first base. So you got to understand you first, and then you can understand other people as well. That's the key issue here. Now, let's carry on. So that is a wonderful definition. All right? EQ has been called the new smart in the workplace, not to be treated as a fluffy issue, but as a serious issue. It is the new smart. And remember, EQ stands for emotional quotient. Very important. So let's move on. Emotional intelligence, what do we need it for? What do you need to rely on emotional intelligence for? Let's look at it. One, it is critically important for effective and sustainable relationships. All right? These are powerful words. For, it didn't say efficient, it says effective. And what? Sustainable. So it keeps it going. You need it for you to be able to maintain effective and sustainable relationships. It should not be mistaken by it should never be mistaken, nor be regarded as some kind of a soft or fluffy element of business. It has to be understood as a business critical skill. Business critical skill, which is why I'm touching upon it today. And all of you will understand instinctively why we need to embrace emotional intelligence. Because you are all, either for those people who are new, looking to build a business, or some of you who are already building teams of hundreds, or some of us already building teams of thousands. You begin to understand that it is critically important to adopt this so we can lead our people, interact with our people, understand our people, negotiate with our people, get along with our people, so that our people are happy to follow us. Okay? Let's carry on. Emotional intelligence is also required in an organization. Now, every single one of you, I can see all your names, okay? All your names, all of you are on this call tonight because you are interested in building yourselves a fabulous, thriving Origin Unite business. Now, that business you are looking to build, or that some of you are already building, can be called an organization. Okay? It starts as a team, then it becomes an organization. All right? It is still full of teams of people, but the appropriate name is an organization because you're doing it now on a large scale. So you require emotional intelligence to develop and build your organization. It will allow you to, number one, maximize the input from your team through treating them well. You know, there's an old saying that goes this way. It says, people don't care how much you know until people know how much you care. When you treat your people well, they will give you their hearts. They will give you their hearts. They will climb a mountain for you. If you treat your people well, it's magical. Capture your people's hearts. Okay? Capture their hearts and watch them deliver. Number two, emotional intelligence will help you to move your organization from technical expertise to expertise in dealing with people. Now, what do I mean by technical expertise? Technical expertise means essentially the hard skills, the things you need to really understand, the mechanics of how our business works. technical expertise would be understanding something like the compensation plan, understanding all that is written in the OS1, the Origin Suite 1, which is where you find your terms and conditions, all the information you need about Origin business, all that is in your OS1. How you advance in rank, how you climb up each rank, each position. Those things could be termed technical expertise, and also understanding the intricacies of our Unite program, our partnership with America. Those are called technical information. So those information you have. However, what it's telling you right here is that emotional intelligence will help you move your organization, not just from them understanding only technical expertise, but it helps them understand how to become experts in dealing with people. Experts in dealing with people. And you want more. This is why people who have expertise in dealing with people thrive. They get on well, they do much better. Okay? Because people are attracted to them. You see? Very important. Let's carry on. The other reason that emotional intelligence is required in your organization is because it helps you to develop the relationship with both your team members and customers in the long run. So as you are seeing from our all this initial introduction, you are seeing how critically important it is to help you succeed. Now, let's look at personal and social competencies. All right? Because that is very, very important. Personal and social competencies. Why? Because this allows EQ to really work. For emotional intelligence to work, the following personal and social competencies are required. First, personal. I mentioned to you at the beginning that everything starts at the first base, first principles. Before you to change anything outside, you must change it inside. So the very, very first thing we want to look at is personal issues first, before we look at social competencies. So under personal, there are some key areas there we need to look at that makes emotional intelligence work. The first is self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Well, this is the ability to recognize an emotion or your emotion as it happens. You are aware as it happens, whether it's anger, all right? Somebody turned you off the wrong way, all right? Whether it's jealous, whatever it is an emotion that you recognize as it happens. You recognize it for what it is. This is the key to your EQ. That is the key. Recognizing emotions as it happens. That is the entirety or the key to your EQ. So developing self-awareness requires tuning into your true feelings. Tuning into your true feelings. If you evaluate your emotions, then you can manage them. If you ignore your emotions, then you are deceiving yourself, because it needs to be addressed. Especially if we are talking about here damaging negative emotions. You must recognize them. Okay? Because when you recognize them, then you can manage them. Before you can manage them, you have to first identify what it is. And there are some issues, key elements, if you like, of self-awareness. All right? Number one is emotional awareness, which is really your ability to recognize your own emotions and their effects. Hello. and their effects. Not only recognizing your own emotions, but what are the effects of those emotions? Number 2, self-confidence. Now, what is that? Well, we all kind of have an idea of what self-confidence is, but it is really, in simplistic terms, sureness, a sureness about your self-worth and your capabilities. Your self-worth first, your capabilities second, is what will provide for you self-confidence. Your self-worth, and then your capabilities. Self-worth first, appreciation of who you are, what you are first, and then what you can do, your capabilities. That is what gives you your self-confidence. Okay? So the second area besides self-awareness is self-regulation. How do you regulate yourself? You know, there is a particular scripture from the holy Christian book called the Bible. There is a particular scripture that I spent some time a few years ago just meditating. I was amazed at what he said, and I began to think about it. Now, some of you will probably recognize it. I don't remember where it is in the Bible, but it says that it is more difficult to manage the human spirit. It says it's easier for a military general or for a conqueror to invade a country. It's easier for them to invade a country than for you to manage your own spirit. I'm not sure if I explained that properly. It is easier for an army general to invade Iraq, as an example. It's easier than for you to master your own spirit. Think about that for a moment. Anybody who has tried to master or discipline themselves, you know how tough it is. Yes or no? Tough. It is tough to regulate yourself. But with practice, you can master self-regulation. All right? So that scripture was saying it's easier to invade a country than for you to control the human spirit. Wow, that's really amazing. So it's so true. Now, when you think about it, you often have little control over when you experience emotions. But what you can do, however, is you can have a say in how long an emotion is going to last by using a number of techniques which we've learned to alleviate negative emotions, such as anger, such as anxiety, and also another one which affects a lot of people, depression. Just a few examples. You can choose your own. Okay? So a few of the techniques we normally teach in these areas here include these are some of the topics I teach in my corporate training business when I go and train executives in corporations. These are some of the things that I teach. It's what I'm sharing with you tonight. Okay? So the question is, you need to see how can you manage or deal with some of these emotions as they are happening. You could take a long walk, for example. You will calm down before you come back from that long walk. You could meditate. You could pray. Some people go to the gym to let out steam. There are several things you can do. Self-regulation, of course, involves a few things. Number one, it involves self-control. And self-control has to do with how you manage disruptive impulses. Impulses that are disruptive, how do you match them? Number 2 is trustworthiness. You see, when you maintain standards of honesty and integrity, it helps with your trustworthiness and it helps with your own personal self-esteem. You feel good about yourself. Number 3 is conscientiousness, which is talking now essentially about performance. Conscientiousness, meticulousness, thoroughness. And this is talking essentially about taking responsibility for your own performance, giving yourself your own deadlines, your own goals, proving to yourself that you are able to accomplish, to achieve, to meet deadlines, proving to yourself. The other area you could look at under self-regulation could be adaptability, which means how you handle change with flexibility. Just like in our business right now, we are going through a lot of positive change. How do you handle it? When we migrated from the Origin Pure, the products, the liquid nutrition and weight loss, and we evolved into Unite, a lot of people were angry, oh no, we want this and that, because they did not see it. So change sometimes takes a little while for some people. Now we have most of Europe who are evolving or graduating into Unite. But it didn't always used to be like that. Okay? So you've got to be adaptable as a business person, which means you've got to learn how to handle change with flexibility. Then the other, of course, is innovation. Innovation really means, in simplistic terms, being open to new ideas. That's all innovation is. Being open to new ideas. This is some aspect of the personal aspect of EQ. But I want to look at motivation, because motivation is a big one. All right? You know, if you cannot motivate yourself, it is not possible to motivate others. All right? Okay, making sure everybody is well. No messages, which means everyone's listening in. No interruptions tonight. Wonderful. So looking at motivation, to motivate yourself for any achievement, any goal, requires 1, clear goals, and 2, positive attitude. Although you may have a predisposition to either a positive or a negative attitude, which is depending on who you are, but you can, with effort and practice, learn to think more positively. If you catch negative thoughts as they are occurring, if you catch them, arrest them, then you can reframe them in more positive terms, which will help you to achieve your goals. Because I've spent so much time in these areas over the past 20-something odd years, it is hardly, for those of you who I work closely with, those of you who know me very well, and those of you who've known me for years, you know how difficult it is for you to hear me say negative about my business, it's difficult. Why? Because I have filled up my mind, my soul, my spirit with so much positivity. My language is a language of power. I don't like to use weak language. When you hear me speak, you will notice my choice of words are words loaded with power. Everything I do is loaded with power. I had to train myself to be like this. I don't think I was born like this. I had to train myself to be a positive type of person in order for me to achieve my life's goals. Because life will respond to me much more favorably if I'm more if I am more what's the word I'm looking for? If I'm more focused on the positives of life than on the negatives of life. All right? So motivation, you could say, is going to be made up of, number 1, achievement drive. Your constant striving to improve or to meet a standard of excellence that you have set for yourself. So what is your own standard of excellence that you have set for yourself? Ladies and gentlemen, success leaves clues. You hear it over and over again. Success is not in isolation of everything else. There are specific things, what we call predictable patterns of thought and activity that leads and guides you towards the success that you crave. So number one is under motivation. Number one, if you're making notes, I forgot to put all this on this tab. Just from my digging, I'm pulling this out. I wasn't going to go this far tonight, to be honest, but here we are. So number one, of course, is looking at your achievement drive. Your achievement drive, your own drive, standard of excellence that you set for yourself. Number two is your commitment. Now, the best definition of commitment I have heard, I heard this about 17, 18 years ago. It says commitment is doing what you said you will do long after the mood you said it in has left you. Did you get that? Commitment is doing what you promised or said you will do long after the mood you said it in has left you. Some of you listen to something inspirational, you make yourself promises. And then 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days later, you've broken it. You're not interested anymore. That's not commitment. Commitment is saying, I said I will do this, and I have done it, or I am doing it. That is commitment. Okay? Aligning your commitment with the goals of your organization, your own organization and the corporate organization. Number three, under motivation, you could look at, of course, will be initiative. Preparing yourself to act on opportunities that are presented to you. A simple way of looking at initiative. And also you could tie that up with optimism. Optimism is pursuing your goals persistently, despite the obstacles and setbacks in front of you. Next, we then need to look at social skills or social competences. Under social competences, remember the first one we looked at was personal, which is to do with you, self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, you. The next we want to look at is how you succeed with other people, which is the social aspect, empathy and social skills. Now, when you think of empathy, of course, you begin to think of the ability to recognize how people feel. And this is very, very important to your success in your life and in your career. The ability to recognize how people feel. The ability to recognize how people feel is empathy. Powerful stuff. The ability to recognize how people feel, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me for emphasizing it. Recognize how people feel. Yeah? You get that? Okay. And that will help you in your career and in your business and in your life. The more skillful you are at discerning the feelings behind other people's signals, the better you can control the signals you also send them. Yeah? Very, very important. The second area we want to look at is social skills. Now, with social skills, of course, is simple. The development, once you start developing good interpersonal skills, this is then tantamount to success in your career. In today's world, where people spend so much time before computers, I remember doing a training for a group of bankers. They were so poor. investment bankers, so poor with their people skills because most of the time they are looking at their screens or on the telephone. They are hardly interacting with customers on a one-to-one basis, some of them in the bank, locked up for hours, and very, very poor social skills. We had to do some work there. Okay? So it is very, very, very important that you don't need only just your hard skills. You're going to need a lot of soft skills. Now, let me tell you a quick story to help you understand this point. Some of you probably have read this book. This book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I first read that book in 1993. Okay? So probably about 19, 20 years ago. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, what a title. Just the title alone ought to make you buy that book if you haven't got it, or read it if you've got it. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was authored by a legend called Dale Carnegie. In this book, something caught my attention. He told a story about a man called Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab, that later on went on to build empires. Okay? At that point, Charles Schwab was working for a man called Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie was then the richest man in the world. He was a billionaire, a Scottish man who was living in America. He helped to build a lot of the railroads in America. So he was involved in steel. He manufactured steel. Now, Andrew Carnegie, of course, appointed a guy called Charles Schwab, chose him from amongst his peers, and made him the managing director or CEO of the steel company. What was so amazing about this story is then, I think this was in 1930 something or so, he paid this man, guess how much? $1 million a year. You hear what I said? $1 million. You find it in the book. Read the book yourself. How to Win Friends and Influence People. When people began to go to Charles Schwab to ask him, how did you get here? How did you, I'm just trying to remember the story, make sure I haven't forgotten part of the story. How did you arrive at this position of influence and wealth? You know what he said? He said two things. He said, I have learned to be generous in my approbation, and I've learned to be, how did he put it now? Generous with my praise. Essentially, he's saying that the reason he's arrived amongst the peers he was chosen, even though they all had technical expertise, because your technical expertise is not what's going to get you to the top. You could know the origin marketing plan inside out. You could understand the origin marketing, how to advance in rank and get from ambassador to become chairman's team. You could know what you need to do to get there. You could all know how to present the origin presentation, our slides, opportunity fantastically. If you do not have skills in dealing with people, with all your technical expertise, you are going nowhere. I hope you are getting the picture. As we progress this, you will see exactly we are going to be rounding up shortly. So you're going to need a lot of social skills, people interaction skills to help you to win. I didn't finish the story with Charles Schwab. He said, I have learned to be something with my approbation, and I've learned to be generous with my praise. So essentially, he had learned how to get on with people, how to make people feel fabulous. That's the bottom line. Because of that, he was chosen from amongst all the other competent people and chosen to be the head of that corporation. He now went down in history and ended up founding Charles Schwab himself later on in his mature life. Read it. You find it there yourself. How do you give somebody $1 million because you say his people skills were exceptional to run your corporation? You trusted him and gave him $1 million. That's how powerful EQ and IQ, EQ and EI, emotional intelligence is. Now here, the next bit I want to talk to you about is that, well, let me just check one quickly, make sure everyone is with me. Let's see. Emmanuel, you still hearing in South Africa?
Yes, I'm still with you, sir.
Good man. Good man. Just check it. I've not lost you guys. 1 second. Let's see. Frank John. Hello, Frank. Okay. Frank probably doesn't have a microphone, so mute him back. Let's see. Ivor. Do you have a microphone, Ivor? Ivor Humphrey. Ivor doesn't have a microphone, I don't think. We've got here John Shegun, but I can't unmute John for some reason. Something's right. Okay. Judith Ejewere. Hello, Judith.
What country?
Okay, that was Judith's daughter. Better mute that very quickly. Mado Dakoba. Mado, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Charles.
Fantastic, Mado. That's good. So everyone is still hearing. Marianne, you can still hear? Marianne Tucker.
Yes, I can hear you, Charles.
Good.
Great.
Okay, let's go back. Everybody is hearing tonight. No interruptions. Thank God for that. Okay. When star performers were assessed, star performers means top guns, top performers. When they were assessed, here's what was found. Star performers all had, listen to this very carefully, people, all of them had technical competence to do their job. Because technical competence is important for you to do your job. If you go for a job interview, they want to be sure you have the technical competence to do the job. Now, a lot of employers will hire you for your attitude than for your technical competence. All right? I personally will hire somebody for their attitude than for their technical competence. Because technical competence can be taught, but it's hard to teach a good attitude. All right? But the first thing you have to have as a staff performance is you just can have a brilliant attitude, but you are not good at the job. No good. So we want you to be good at your work, which is the technical competence to do your job. Be good at it. But check what they had. They had high IQ. So they had technical competence, plus they had high intelligence. This is what they found out about star performers. However, they also had high EQ, showing emotional competence to deal effectively with people within and outside of their organizations. So what they're saying is that the star performers that were analyzed, appraised, had those three things. They had technical competence, they had intelligence, and they had high emotional intelligence as well. EQ is what is required for sustainable success. Everybody here. So as we begin to round up, now I want to talk to you about your mindset and self-talk. You see, self-talk is so important. I've mentioned this to you before. If you, for example, watch somebody like a Serena Williams playing tennis, I've observed this about her. This is why I'm using her as an example. You will notice that she mutters to herself. She talks to herself. You will notice that she probably has a small piece of paper when she sits down that she doesn't want anybody to see. And she looks at that small piece of paper and she's muttering something to herself. The cameras are trying so hard to find out what is written in that paper, but you can't see what is written in the paper. She covers it, but she talks to herself and you can see her lips moving. She's talking to herself. Usain Bolt. A lot of the American sprinters, you see them, they will walk up and down, nodding their head, talking to themselves. What are they saying? What are they saying? Or sometimes you see a David Beckham wants to take a free kick. The whole world, billions are watching him. He's walking towards that ball. He's talking to himself. He's talking to himself. Then you watch heavyweight boxing champions. Before they get into the ring, they have cheerleaders. People following them all over the place. Some fantastic music. Bebop, hip-hop, bebop, right? You are the greatest. You are the best. You are the greatest. You are the best. You are number one. You are the best. And the boxer is nodding his head as he walks towards the rope. And when the boxer gets into the ring, what do? Some of them, you see them talking to themselves. What are they saying? Gentlemen and ladies, every major achiever understands self-talk. Understands self-talk. Do you know how many times a day you talk to yourself? Some of it not audibly, in your mind. Most of the days, 70% of the thoughts are negative. So you want to master self-talk, which you use to eradicate the negative thoughts that come into your mind. So when you hear thoughts coming into your mind, Marianne, what makes you think you can be the greatest ambassador in Holland? Come on, you come from a small city or small town or small village or whatever in Holland. What makes you think you're going to be a successful president's team? Who do you think you are? What do you when you hear those messages, you shut it down, Marianne. How? You said, you speak. You don't think, you speak it out. Because thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. You say, what makes you think I can't? I am the best that has ever been from my village. I am the best that has ever been from my city. I am the best that has ever been from my town. I'm a champion. Not only am I a champion, I'm a champion creator. I am destined for the top. I'm blessed. I am favored. I'm the best there is. Guess what happens to that negative thought? It runs. Try it. Try it. It disappears. It disappears. Whoever you are listening in tonight, when negative thoughts come into your mind, arrest it immediately. Arrest it. Don't just pretend it's not there, because it is a thing. It is substance. Your thoughts are substance. The thing you want to do, you get rid of it quickly. Listen to what Goethe said. Goethe said that the German philosopher Van Goethe, he said, if you hear a voice behind you telling you you cannot paint, he says, by all means silence that voice and the voice will despair. Silence that voice. Everyone who has achieved understands that they hear negative thoughts coming in to their mind to tell them they are not good enough. You are not good enough. You cannot make it. You cannot win. You tell it, you speak to it and says, you are a liar. Get out with your negative thoughts. I am the best that's ever been. I am going to get to the top. I am determined. I'm a special creation. I'm uniquely gifted. I am the best you've ever seen. Watch me go. Honestly. And it will run and hide in the darkness, because those things are operating in darkness, never in light. The minute you speak to it, it disappears. You got it? So, self-talk has a major impact on your mindset. Every one of you will agree, yes or no? It does. Your mindset has a major impact on how you will interact with other people. Your self-talk can cause your behavior to reflect what you expect to happen rather than what you want to happen. Read that again. Your self-talk can cause your behavior to reflect what you expect to happen rather than what you want to happen. Did you understand what that meant? Your self-talk can cause your behavior to reflect the things you expect to happen rather than what you want to happen. So if it's a negative self-talk, it's going to lead to a negative outcome. If it's a positive self-talk, it's going to lead to a positive outcome. You control your outcome. This is what all successful people know. You control, not anybody else, you control your outcome. So in general, your positive self-talk will lead you to a positive outcome, and your negative self-talk, guess what, will always lead you to a negative outcome. When you hear a woman says all men are bastards, all men are this, guess what? The next man that woman gets, guess what that man is going to be? It's going to be a bastard. Because her negative mindset already believes that all men are bastards. All right? So she's going to, without her knowing it, she is attracting into her life by iron law men, quote unquote, who are supposed to be bastards. The best men avoid her. Because what she's radiating attracts. So because she's radiating negativity, she keeps on attracting. I mean, I'm sure you've seen stories like that. Why do you keep finding the same kind of men who beat you up all the time? Because all she does is attract those kinds of men. All right? Or somebody keeps going on this, I'm going to have a wreck. I know I'm going to have an accident. Guess what happens? You're going to have an accident. You use your mouth to control your reality. Your words is exactly what you use to create life out of your mouth. So you dictate how you want your life to go. So you reframe. Something very, very important happened in the presidential election between Ronald Reagan and Walter Mondale in the 80s. Amazing, because this was captured. They were doing a TV interview, Walter Mondale and Reagan. Reagan was an older man. Walter Mondale was a younger man. I'm sure some of you will remember those names who are into politics. And Walter Mondale wanted to make fun of Reagan to let people know that Reagan was an old man and that he was more younger and fitter. And he cast a negative word on Reagan on public television. You know what Reagan said to him? Reagan said, Walter, I do not intend to make an issue out of your youth and your inexperience. I do not intend to make an issue out of your youth and your inexperience. And Ronald Reagan won the election. It's called reframing. Reframing. You learn how to take a negative and you turn it into a positive with your mouth. You learn how to take a negative and you turn it into a positive. I was speaking to a lot of my leaders a while back, and I told them about another company that I was involved with for a few years. This company, they produced nutrition product, some of the beautiful bottles of nutrition. And their main product was the acai berry. Acai berry comes out of Brazil. It's supposed to be a powerful, power-packed antioxidant. Now, depending on the season when these fruits are picked and when they are juiced and then bottled up, because there's omega-3 and fatty acids in the nutrition, you will see the fat deposit float up in the bottle. So when you open the bottle, you see a fat deposit, which looks like a congealed oil. Okay? And people used to worry, oh, what is this? It's gone bad, this and that. The number one earner in that company, a guy called Brighart, who I spent a lot of time with, who I spent some time with, not a lot of time, spent some time. You find him on my Facebook and all kinds of stuff. This guy was earning at some point $700,000 a week in income from this industry. Some of you are probably gulping and think, whether you heard me or yes, you did. 700,000 a week. Right? Now, I heard him teaching about this. He opened the bottle, he shook the bottle in front of his friend, all his people, a room of about 200-300 people. Shook the bottle, opened the bottle. He said, you see that bit? He said, all those seed in there that you people are thinking maybe it's made the product go bad. You see that part that looks like congealed oil, fatty? He said, that's the best bit. And he drank it from the bottle. He swig it, glug, 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 glug. He said, that's the best bit. And I was watching. I said, what a leader. In an instant. And he was right. That's the best bit. But people keep using spoon to take it off, not knowing that their body requires fatty acid, the right kind of fat. That's the best kinds of fat. And guess what? In an instant, he rephrased a negative into a positive. That's what successful people do. Whatever you come and complain, they turn it into a positive. Hello. They turn it into a positive. And if you are going to want to win and be a big player, you've got to adopt that. So in closing, your negative versus your positive mindset. So let me take you through a small journey here. If we commence this journey on the left, you will see one red arrow, the other is a green arrow. Okay, let's start with the red arrow on the left-hand side. Notice what he's saying there, because we're going to go in a full cycle here. It says your negative mindset and your self-talk will generate or will create negative expectations. Why? It's a no-brainer. Your mindset, if it's negative and if your small talk is negative, then your results or your reality will be negative. It's not difficult to understand. Now, once you have your negative expectations, guess what it does? It influences inappropriate behavior. You're going to act the way you are feeling. You're going to act the way you are feeling. So it creates inappropriate behavior. And guess what inappropriate behavior does? It produces unsatisfactory outcome. It produces the outcome that you do not want. But guess what your subconscious does? Your subconscious knows you more than you know yourself, called your unconscious mind. It knows you more than you know yourself. It is vast. It's been there way before you were born. It knows every single thing you've done in this life, both good and bad. It has kept impressions. It has kept records of you and your life. Every time you've lied, it's kept it. Every time you've told the truth, it's kept it. Every time you've promised to do something and you didn't do it, it's kept it. Every time you promised you would do it, it's kept it. Every time you gave up too quickly, it's kept it. Every time you achieve success and you celebrate, it kept. So it has thousands and thousands and millions of impressions about you and your life. Okay? So when you have unsatisfactory outcome, guess what it does? Your subconscious now store that emotion for the next time something similar arises. Now imagine the next time you have a similar situation which caused your negative expectation, led to your inappropriate behavior. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to react exactly the same as you reacted here. Because guess what your subconscious does? It just brings it out of you. Oops, here it is. This is how you should react. And you do so. Because it has stored up and kept your reaction and your impressions for future use. So the next time it happens, it borrows it back to you. Say, hey, this is how you need to behave. Remember? And you behave that same way. Amazing. Now, follow that red arrow to the left. It says recognition of situation in your data bank. Where's your data bank? Your subconscious. Recognition of the situation in your data bank plus your beliefs will trigger your mindset and self-talk for the next situation. It will trigger it straight away and you find yourself behaving the same way. Now let's look at the opposite of that. Look at the green. Bottom left-hand corner. Positive mindset and self-talk. So if your mindset is positive and your self-talk is positive, you've told yourself, I am best. I will reach my goals. I am unstoppable. I'm the most persistent person you know. I am determined. I eat perseverance for breakfast. I am the best you've ever seen. Watch me go. Watch me go. Now, if your mindset is positive and your self-talk is positive, it will lead you to positive expectations. You expect to win. You know, Bishop and I, we did some appointments this afternoon, a back-to-back appointment. We saw 4 people this afternoon. We sat in a hotel and one after the other, we saw them. Bishop expects, most of you know I've been working with Bishop now in the past 5 weeks. All right, end of this month, I'll cut him loose. So he's independent, semi-independent to run his own show. Obviously, I'm going to be there as a support structure for him, but in the meantime, I've been doing a lot of work with him because he's a major player. All right? Bishop is a positive person. He believes he's going to rule the world with Origin. He's going to build empires. So your positive mindset and your positive self-talk lead to positive expectations. What does that do? That automatically leads to the right behavior. This is why upbeat people who are positive, you see it in their physiology, you see it in their body, you see it in their whistling. Some of them are singing in the morning, some they smile. It's in their behavior. You see it. You see it. Yeah. And it will lead to satisfactory outcome. Even if the outcome was not satisfactory, they reframe it, they turn it into a positive again. Because that's just who they are. And your subconscious now stores it for the next time the same or similar situation arises. And the next time a similar situation arises, guess what it does? It triggers off recognition of the situation, is triggered off. And guess what you then do? You act appropriately, your appropriate behavior kicks in. You have your positive expectation. It leads you to satisfactory outcome. So I hope you kind of, I tried a bit tonight to help you understand why it is critical to understand emotional intelligence. Okay, I'm listening in from Tanzania. I don't have a mic. All right. Okay, that's Frank John, I think. I can hear you, sir. I don't have a mic. I'm in Tanzania. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, all right. We hear you, John. We hear you. So this is what I wanted to share with you tonight, wonderful Origin ambassadors. As we are about to launch the mother of all launches, I have been preparing you, all of you, in the past few weeks with a lot of these trainings so that you can be ready to take maximum advantage of what we're about to do and then change your lives. Change your lives. Create substantial wealth for you and your families. Impact your community. Change the lives of people around you. And change the lives of tens of thousands of children around the world. Thank you very much. I hope it's been beneficial to you tonight, and I hope you found it extremely helpful. So we'll just open it up now